Welcome to Top Tier Wrestling, your ultimate destination for all things AEW and WWE. Whether you're a hardcore wrestling fanatic or just a casual viewer, we've got you covered with the latest news, in depth show reviews, and our unfiltered opinions on everything happening in the world of professional wrestling. Join us as we dive into the high octane action, dramatic storylines, and backstage buzz of AEW and WWE. Get ready to step into the ring with us and stay on top of the wrestling world. This is Top Tier Wrestling. Welcome to the Top Tier Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host, Don Jericho. I'm joined today and every day by my tag team partner in crime, Josh Hager. Today, we're covering WWE's creative team's favorite child. That's right, we're not talking about the slag-ass brick-shaped Friday Night Foster baby. No, 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 no. We're covering the good child. Monday Night
Shots
Raw.
fired.
Shots fired from November 10th. Hey, let's get into it.
Josh Hager, I like this hat.
You love it. Yeah.
So this episode of WWE RAW is coming to us from TD Garden in Boston, Massachusetts. And as they let us know almost immediately, this is Cena country. And the show opens with Triple H in the ring. And they're playing the music. It's all about the game and how you play it. And
That's not the one they were playing.
I don't know. It's time to play the game. It's one of those ones.
No,
I mean, everybody.
it's bow down to the king. I know that because like 6 people in the audience was singing it after it went off.
That's true. That's true. They were here for it. The crowd was awesome in Boston. So Triple H immediately grabs the mic, talking about how that'll never get old because he still likes coming to the ring and getting the crowd riled up. And he goes on to explain how everybody in the world has an opinion on who the greatest of all time is, and there's a ton of different criteria, whether it's about in-ring performance, charisma, the ability to tear someone up on the mic, or to be a box office attraction. And he goes on to say that as someone who has seen it from all different sides, both as a fan, a talented performer, he thinks he's got a pretty good take on who the best in the business is. And from his unique perspective, there's only one person that qualifies for being the greatest of all time. And for him, that's John Cena. And that, of course, gets the Boston crowd to cheer. And out comes John Cena. And he makes his way down, and he's thankful for the introduction. He's thankful for a lot of things. He was thankful for the introduction, thankful for, being able to come back to Boston one last time, thankful for getting an opportunity to utilize his last match at Saturday night's main event to also showcase some NXT talents versus WWE main roster superstars. And right near the end of all of the things he was thankful for, out comes Dominic Mysterio, and I don't have I don't know his music well enough to imitate, but Dom makes his way to the ring, and here, like we have pointed out, that Dominic Mysterio used to be booed out of the room. And now he's getting over with the fans. Well, not here in Boston, not interrupting John Cena. He was unironically back to being booed out of the arena.
That was right out. They were like, oh, hell no.
They're like, how dare you interrupt John Cena in Cena country?
Yeah.
And Dom walks into the ring and immediately starts talking to Triple H like John Cena ain't even there. He's like, it's like he didn't see him.
Yeah. He goes, Hunter. And I'm like, oh, not the government name.
Mm-hmm. Not even, actually. It's Paul Levesque. But
oh, that's right. He went for the yeah. I digress. Jesus Christ. You just for real will actually me.
Well, actually, um,
You for real? Ooh, actually,
actually, Hunter's not even his name.
yeah, you're right,
Um,
but not right, Dawn. Interesting take, but
hey,
however,
hey, I like this hat. Um, but he immediately starts griping to Hunter about, what is he going to do about what happened to him last week. He's the mega campeon and the greatest intercontinental champion of all time. And my celebration was interrupted by some deadbeat. And that doesn't happen to me. See, I'm the one who interrupts old men's celebrations, and everyone's like, "Ooh." And so John Cena tries to start talking to him, saying something like, "Hey, we got off on the wrong foot." And Dominic Mysterio was like, "It's not about you or Boston. So why don't you just go sit in your little corner and let the grown folk handle some business and speak when you're spoken to, or I'll put you down." And I'm like, "That's some tough talk from a guy
that
who's
is some
like 200
super.
pounds, you little tiny ass motherfucker."
That is some
Um,
super big talk.
and long story short, without getting too into the weeds about the back and forth, this results in Dominic Mysterio saying something dumb like, you're going to need more than the magic of Boston to beat me. I'm not even at my peak, and I'm better than you were ever at it. Your prime, anytime, any place, any era, I would have whooped John Cena. And so Triple H is like, well, it's a pretty good era. It's a pretty good time, and it's a fantastic place. And so they set it up right then and there, like not even for later on in the evening. It's like right now, you're both out here, go. And immediately, Dominic Mysterio is defending his Intercontinental Championship match against John Cena as the first match to get Raw kicking. And the crowd lost it, as they should. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Um, so we fairly quickly find ourselves at the first match of the evening. And for my take on this one, this was a very great way to open the show, especially for a very hyped Boston.
Yeah.
West Newbury, Mass is like a suburb of Boston practically. It's just down the street. And they were here for John Cena, and this match was a real treat. What were your thoughts on this opening match?
I concur. And I do not digress. No.
Concur, but no digression? What? Taz is
you know,
rolling around somewhere. Ah,
to your point, Josh Vani. Um, I actually thought that this match was pretty goddamn fantastic. What it was a fantastic opener. We already know how I feel about Dominic Mysterio. He legit is the future. Like he will be carrying WWE on his shoulders when he gets like yeah, that's my pick. That's my MVP. But but this match was great. They worked well together. John Cena looked good. Uh I mean, it was fun. The audience was all about it. No flubs, no fuck ups, no fuckery. Just a good solid match. Of course, there was that one really hilarious moment where Dominic tries his tried and true chair toss, and this time when he tried it, he throws the chair, and Cena catches it. Then I'm sorry, Dominic, John Don Dom,
John Don Dom,
Dominic hits the mat, and the ref
Rob
is
Van Dam.
still yeah, but the ref is still putting the buckle, the turnbuckle back onto the corner. Dominic ripped it off, and threw it on the floor or threw it on the mat, and the ref saw it, so he's trying to put it back. So Dominic gets the chair, he slams it on the mat, throws it at Cena, then he drops on the mat, and Cena throws the chair back at Dom, like close to Dom, and then hits the mat. And so the ref turns around and they're both like out out on the mat, and the chair's just there in between them, and the ref's like, the fuck just happened? So that was great. But yeah, aside from all the funny or the funny little bits, the wrestling was good. and the audience was hyped. It was a great way to open.
Yeah, and I feel like WWE may have heard when we were saying it's unfortunate that John Cena doesn't have a belt or anything. There's no stakes for the last match other than it being the last match because well they had him win the Intercontinental Championship, which not only gives extra stakes to his final match, but it also renders John Cena a Grand Slam champion, something that had eluded him in his illustrious career. And so now that is one more feather in the cap of one John Cena.
Yeah.
And it was a pretty good finish. Dominic Mysterio managed to get off the 619 and hit the frog splash clean, but John Cena just rolled through, picks him up because again, he's only 200 pounds at like 6'3", and then lifts him up into the AA and just drives him into the mat to, you know, relieve Dom of the burden of that extra belt. And so to open the show, we have the new Intercontinental Champion, John Cena, having defeated Dominic Mysterio. And it
Yeah.
was pretty rad-tastic, if I'm honest. Like, what a way to start this Monday Night Raw. I mean, fantastic.
Yeah. Smart too. Real smart. It's like creative does know what it's doing on certain days.
For Raw, especially. Hopefully, SmackDown's getting its act together. Um, but after that phenomenal way to get the energy up for the start of the show, we returned to see John Cena celebrating back in Gorilla with multiple different superstars, Sheamus, Rey Mysterio. Ray's like, Dom really needed that ass whipping, and Cena says he hopes it was a great lesson because Dom's actually a good kid.
He's
And
a good
then he
kid. He's
runs
like
into
45.
yeah, I know you
Like, what do
made
you
that
mean?
point. You're
What
like,
do you
good
mean, good
kid.
kid? He's got like
He's
8 kids of his own. What are you talking about? Good kid? He's like 35 years old, well on his way to 58, and you're like talking like good. He's a good kid. Yeah, he was a good kid like 15 years ago. I agree.
I
He
mean,
was.
can you really call him a kid when he's already been 20 years in the business?
Look at that mustache. That's no kid mustache. That's a power stash.
True
John
facts.
Cena,
True
I
facts.
demand you stop hating. That's what I make my demand right now. Thou
But
shalt stop hating. It's in the Bible.
thou shalt stop hating Dominic Mysterio.
Yes.
Um but Cena, last but not least, runs into Cody Rhodes, and Cody congratulates Cena on becoming the IC champ. And with it being his last time in Boston, he wasn't going to miss it. And Cena says, "Class act, champ," and shakes hands with Cody. So it was all like very feel good, very up on John Cena, and it was very satisfying. It was good stuff.
Yeah.
Um, I'm hoping
It was what they
two
should have
two
done.
lessons, two things that I've recommended strongly for WWE. One is that sometimes it's better to just be satisfying than shocking.
Yeah.
And by sometimes I mean all the time if it's going to be non sequitur and go nowhere. Um, and that we are seeing like a greater degree of title mobility. Um, and I think that's good. It's been good, and I'm happy to see them going in that direction. And this was one more example of that. So well done.
Yeah.
Um, then I believe they give us a brief video reminder that Logan Paul knocked CM Punk the hell out last week with brass knuckles and basically sided with the Vision. Um, But shortly after that, they led us into the second match. There was actually not a whole lot. Like, this was match after match after match, or so it felt like. There was very
Yeah.
little um in the way of like heavy recap and backstage segments on this one. I think they wanted to give more time to matches, and I have nothing but praise for that.
Yeah.
Um But our second match is a first round match in the Last Time Is Now tournament, and we're surely not going to stumble over saying first, last a few times. Um, but this was a match between Damian Priest and Rusev in the first round match of the last time is now tournament. Not a lot of heat or build up here between these two, as it's just names drawn from the tournament lottery. And what were your thoughts on this match between Damian Priest and Rusev?
I thought that I don't know why they hate Damian Priest so fucking much now. I don't know what he has done, but I'm sure if they climb down out of his ass for 2 seconds and give him a match with somebody who is relevant and is not a uh brick built shit baby, um, then that'd be great. Yeah, I said it. Listen, I'm so sick of Rusev. Like, quit trying to force Rusev down our fucking throats. And why put him with Damian Priest? Listen, why are we shitting on Damian Priest right now? Why? Why? This dude had a belt. Like,
Like the belt, like the top belt.
like the belt. And now he's getting kicked in the face by this weird shaped fucking Rusev. Like, okay, you know what? Let me stop with the body shaming. I apologize, audience, but fuck this brick. Like, I'm so sick of Rusev. He's so boring. His move set is boring. He's kind of goofy. Um, he strikes me as somebody that I would see on the street, or like if I was in New York, he'd be on the subway just with a pack of wieners for no reason. Like he just reminds me, and he would be trying to give people like a cold, uncooked ass wiener. That's like I feel like Rusev would be that guy. I don't know who that fucking guy is.
I don't, not the cold wiener, man.
But I feel like just envision this. He's on a subway in New York. He has on a fur coat that is clearly not real fur. It's like all it's like all matted and gross. Um, and he keeps pulling out a Ziploc bag, like reaching into a, like a Ziploc bag in one of the pockets of the coat, and it's just nothing but wieners. Like, and I mean, like in the actual wiener juice and everything. Like,
Oh,
and he's
this
just
is
pulling them out and eating them, and like handing one to somebody. Like, that's that. He's that guy.
two things. One, you definitely went somewhere with that. That sounds like an in living color character that what was it? Damon Wayans would play, but it was the homeless guy with the pickle jar with one pickle floating sketchily in
Oh
it.
my god.
And two, you've already created a more interesting character than what Rusev is portraying now.
Well, listen, I'm like, that's Rusev. And his name would be the same. It would be no change. It'd be Rusev on the bus. Like, oh my god, here comes Subway Rusev, guys. Don't. He's gonna try to
Subway
offer you.
Rusev.
He's gonna try to offer you a cold wiener. Just fucking say no. Just say
Yeah,
no, thank you.
we went from Rusev Day to Rusev Subway.
Yeah, you're gonna have to eventually, like, just walk away from him. He's gonna keep trying to offer you a cold wiener. They're not even cooked, man. He didn't even boil them in nothing. It's just fresh out the refrigerator, pack of wieners.
Man,
Like he just eats them at work, his
like he just
construction
opens
job.
the pack right then and there and just starts eating the wiener. Um,
I
your
don't know
thoughts?
where I'm going, but the match, it was okay. Like, and it was definitely, granted, the first match was a hard match to follow. Okay, it was amazing, but this match, watching like having us, watch Damian Priest get squashed by Rusev and his stupid ass kick. Um,
The Machka kick.
what? Yeah, it was. It wasn't good. I mean, if there was a weak match, this is it. If there was a weak match for the night, this was definitely it.
Yeah. For my thoughts, I tend to agree. This was an okay match, but to be perfectly honest, Damian Priest and Rusev could probably put on a much better match than what we're getting here. Um, and the commentary team didn't do this match any favors because they telegraphed so hard. They were like, "Oh my God, Damian Priest's eyeball is popping out of the socket and rolling around on the ground." Like
Oh
they
my god.
oversold the eye injury so bad that it just straight telegraphed like ridiculously that Rusev was going to win because the blurry eye of destruction had befallen Damian Priest.
My
And for me,
goodness.
this ended up being meh because I like Priest very much, and I'm with you. I
Yes.
don't know why WWE has bumped him back down to being like mid card at best. I don't. Is he wrestling hurt? I mean, what's going on there? But why are you giving Damian Priest a treatment that Julia would be receiving at this moment in time? And you
Yeah.
couple that by the fact that I'm bored with Rusev. I agree with you. His character's not that great, and his move set is pretty terrible. The Machka kick is probably one of the worst, most boring finishes ever. And I say that because if you didn't know, like we know, the Machka kick is his finisher. If nobody said anything, if the announce team wasn't like, "Oh my God, the Machka kick," then it wouldn't look like a finisher. Any finisher that somebody has to say, "Hey, that was his finisher," or you would have missed it, is not a great finishing move. It's just too regular and too unremarkable of a move to be a finishing move.
Yeah.
It's as lame as like when Big Show stopped using the choke slam and just started punching people. A right hand to the face is not a finishing move. It's lame, and it's the most low effort garbage. So I'm not a fan of Rusev. They haven't made me a fan yet. If they are ever going to, his move set is terrible. His character is non-existent and incoherent. Uh, so for me, the guy that I'm interested in is basically being buried by a guy who I don't give two craps about, and so that's my personal bias. Um, and it just this was a weak one for me too. I guess WWE are giving Rusev a push, but I wish Damian Priest wasn't seeming to get buried and pushed back down into the mid card for some reason. Like I'm with you. Did he piss someone off?
Yeah.
So um it was okay. And just to clarify, Rusev wins with a Machka kick after gouging Priest's eye like 3 times back to back in front of the ref. That's another thing. Since we're on the
Oh my
subject,
god.
like, why is there really any penalty? I mean, I know before anyone's like, dude, it's fake. It's not a real sport. I get that. But when you're telling a story and you're trying to be consistent, you try to be consistent, even if it's fiction. And so, if we're trying to be consistent, is there really any actual penalty for eye gouging, biting, or pulling hair? Because they're
I
always
don't
like,
think
"Oh,
so.
that's illegal," but all that ever happens is the ref gives you a warning. Like you could do it 18 times back to back, and it's like, "Hey, stop that! Quit pulling the hair." It
Yeah.
doesn't amount to anything ever. I like. When's the last time you saw a match get disqualified because of hair pulling, or eye
Never.
gouging, or throat chops, or any of that stuff that they tell you is illegal, but there seemingly never is a consequence for?
Yeah.
So Rusev basically like hits Damian Priest overtly in the eyeball in front of the ref like 4 times in this match, like 2 or 3 of them near the very end, and it just didn't amount to anything in the
Yep.
way of it being a penalty. So, I mean, if I were in that ring, I would start the match with like an eye gouge and then run my opponent into the referee and proceed to kick them in the balls because apparently that doesn't ever get you really disqualified ever.
Yep.
So like a low blow seems to be the only thing, like, and only if the ref sees it happen, because otherwise you can bite them, you can poke them in the eye, you can all kinds of stuff. Just gets a pass, even if it happens repeatedly in a match. So like there's this referee, the point I'm getting to is that there seems to be like no end of getting away with all that kind of crap, even if it's in front of the ref and he sees you do it, because all he'll ever do is complain about it, but it doesn't end up changing the outcome of a match ever.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, at least not costing the person doing it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Rusev wins after gouging Damian Priest's eye repeatedly and then hitting him with the weak Machka kick. So this was mediocre, and I guess immediately we're seeing Damian Priest is no longer in this. The time is now tournament, so that's done. And it's very hard for me to separate like objectively whether or not I don't think it was a great match. It was an okay match. I just really like in a more subjective way, I'm much more of a fan and interested in Damian Priest than Rusev, so it was not the way I would have been interested in seeing it go. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
Moving on from that one, we are taken backstage briefly to see Adam Pearce talking with AJ Styles and Dragon Lee, and they're reiterating that they're here. They want to be fighting champions, so get them more opponents. And Pearce is like, "Hey, that sounds good to me. Let me get that set up, and I'll get right back to you guys. In the meantime, have you guys come up with a team name?" And Dragon Lee suggests in Spanish, "Dragons with Style." And uh, Pierce is like, "Hey, I think it sounds good." And AJ's like, "We'll workshop that." I guess AJ didn't like it. And then from there, they go off scene, and Maxine Dupree steps into the conversation. And Pierce just wants to know how her training's going and is she ready for Becky Lynch? And Maxine says yes and no. And Pierce then has an aneurysm and needs a drink. No. And then she says her training's going well, but she says something like ready's a feeling or not a feeling, it's a choice, and she's made her decision. So she says she wants Pierce to give her Becky Lynch, and Pierce makes it official for next week in Madison Square Garden. After which Pierce walks away, and Becky Lynch somehow blindsides Maxine Dupree by walking directly into her line of sight and punching her in the face. Because she didn't come from like the back or the side. She was just like from right in front of her. And somehow Maxine was like, "What?" Um, and and she says, "Welcome to the big time." And we're left with Maxine holding her jaw, looking angrily as we end that sequence. And here's my hope. At this point, this will be what, the third of
I think.
the matches they've had.
Yeah.
And Maxine has been getting better and better in each one. So this absolutely needs to end. If it's going to be satisfying and not another road to nowhere, this needs to end with Maxine winning against Becky here.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that's what we end up seeing.
We hope.
And I don't know if it happened here, but there was actually, it did, I think, happen here, right? Well, in the next segment, we have CM Punk come out, and he keeps looking over his shoulder, like the whole way down. And I'm like, are you being stalked by a fan, my dude? Like, who are you looking for? And it turns out he's watching to see if he's going to get jumped by the Vision. And he makes his way to the ring, and he lets Boston know that he's a lot pissed off, and he's calling out Logan Paul, and he isn't here for a wrestling match. He is here for a fight. And though Logan has his eyes on his belt, he's going to have his boot on that broccoli-headed millennial's neck. And
Oh my god.
broccoli-headed millennial was pretty good.
CM Punk, I'm gonna need you to stop. Phil, cut it out, sir. Cut it out. Oh my god.
And upon hearing his government name, broccoli-headed millennial, Logan Paul
How did he know?
yeah, right. He comes out and he's so humble, and he says,
Song is a banger.
"Punk, why so mad, bro?" And what's he so mad about? And
oh my god.
before long, Logan is talking about, hey, I had a choice to make, and I didn't feel like getting my ass kicked by the Vision week after week. He's like, look, I've been hit in the face by Floyd Mayweather, but I didn't see the light until I got tsunami'd, and then I don't want that smoke. I don't want to week after week get cracked by a tsunami. So I'm with the Vision.
Yep.
And then when he pretty much says that, how his eyes have been opened to a whole new vision, the rest of the Vision appears next to him coming out from the back. And so you've got Logan and Braun and Brock and Paul, like Heyman, not Logan, um, coming out. And Paul Heyman is like, stop if you've heard this one before. And we were like screaming, stop, because we know we've heard it before. And he says, he goes on to talk about how Punk is the single most unlikable human being he's ever met in his entire life. And the only way he could be more unlikable is if his name was AJ Lee. And I'm like, uh,
Ooh.
sick burn. And
Unnecessary, sir. Mr. Heyman.
Punk responded like, hey, if AJ was here right now, she'd leave all four of you in a pool of your own piss and blood. But since she's not, I guess the job falls to me. Come on, boys, come get some. What do you say? I'll fight all five of you. That's two for you, Heyman. Uh,
Yo,
fat joke.
yo, yo, CM Punk, CM Punk had me rolling like that dude. This was the first time somebody has said that he was an unlikable person, and I was like, well, hang on. Because before he had this little run here in WWE, he was not a likable person for me. And he's still not like one of my favorites. But I think he has made great strides in this WWE run. Um, and that's all I'd like to say about Fire Out.
Hey, I don't disagree. There was actually some snappy promo work from Punk.
Yeah.
Again, when he can be coherent and not contradict himself, he can cut really good promos, and this was a good one. Um, and basically, we end up with the Vision attempting to circle the ring, and they're
Yeah.
going to try and jump Punk, but then Jey Uso comes in, and he came in from the back near the announce desk side, so we didn't really get like an intro or anything. Just Jey Uso appears in the ring next to Punk, and they're trying to hold him off, but even with Jay's assistance, it's a bit much. And so when the Vision starts getting, Jay and Punk kind of getting the beat down, out comes Cody Rhodes. And so now with Cody Rhodes and Jay and Punk all in the ring, it's a little more even because it's not like Paul Heyman is throwing hands. Um, and we end up with them basically brawling for a bit until the Vision gets run off back to the backstage area. And it's starting to look like Logan Paul has sided with the Vision. So we've got three members of the Vision's War Games team, and it looks like the third man with Jey Uso and Punk going into War Games will be Cody Rhodes. So now the open questions are who's going to be the fourth man on either of these two teams, like for each of the two teams. Do you wager any guesses at this juncture?
I'm gonna say for the Jey Uso, Cody Rhodes, um, CM Punk faction or group, I'm gonna say Roman Reigns.
Yeah,
And
you got Roman Reigns.
yeah, I think I got Roman. Because I mean he can go anywhere he wants. Monday night, Friday night, it don't matter, it's Roman. Um and it's war games, so you don't have to be a part of any particular anything. You're just having a like vengeful fight with three or four other guys. Um and for the Vision and Logan Paul, I am frightened to say that I think it might be Brock Lesnar. Um, and I'm frightened. You know, do I have to explain that? I don't think so, guys.
No,
Brock fucking
no, I mean,
Lesnar.
it's Brock fucking Lesnar. And I tend to agree with you on all counts because the only other more obvious choice, or the only other obvious choice for the team, for Team Punk, we'll say Team Vision and Team Punk is how I'll break it down. And for Team Punk, the other option would be LA Knight. But
Yeah,
I honestly see there being more story if Roman shows up and says, "Hey, Punk, you helped me out when we had War Games. I'm paying back the favor." You know,
yeah. But
which
what is Jimmy doing?
I don't know. It could be Jimmy, but
If it's Jimmy, it can't be Lesnar.
if the Vision gets Lesnar, then the only way to offset that would
Yeah,
be with Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns,
yeah,
to deal with Brock Lesnar.
yeah,
So I think that is very likely going to be the case, because there is actually some story arc there. Um, Whereas LA Knight has really just got the fact that he's been in proximity of wanting to get the heavyweight title as his
yeah,
connective tissue. Roman Reigns could come back and they could have some compelling story about how, he's trying to pay back the favor that CM Punk did, and how there's irony in that of all the people that actually would pay back the favor and then ultimately do right by Punk, it's a rival like Reigns. That
yeah,
makes Reigns look good and it makes a compelling storyline, as well as the storied history that Brock Lesnar has with Roman Reigns. And, his last big feud was with Cody Rhodes. So, I think there's more storyline there. Plus, those are big enough guys. Like if you're going to offset Brock Lesnar, you need Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns for that.
yeah, yeah. I agree.
Well, I mean, I was technically agreeing with you. Your
Yeah.
predictions, I think, were spot on. I was just stating my reasons why I
Listen,
agree.
listen. It's the snark for me.
It's the snark. I got the
It's the
snark for it.
snark.
Hey, it's because I like this hat.
I'm just saying.
Um, After that, we got a brief recap of the Kabuki Warriors' attack on Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss when they got them when Alexa had been like dangled like a Christmas ornament by Lash Legend. How
Boy,
they
them
were in
little
the back,
legs. Them little legs. Blink,
the
blink,
little
dude.
dangly feet. How Alexa and Charlotte were both back in the, I guess, medical room, and Nurse Asuka showed up to give them a dose of blue mist to the face. It was pretty fantastic.
uh,
Um, and then that led us into the third match of the night, which is Stephanie Vaquer, the women's champion, women's world champion, sorry, with Nikki Bella versus Raquel Rodriguez with Roxanne Perez, um, in a one-on-one match, for the women's world championship. And what were your thoughts on this match?
um, the match itself was good. I Stephanie Vaquer has definitely grown on me. Um, and I thought, not Roxy, sorry, but Raquel. You guys already know how I feel about Raquel. Like she is the improvement of the year as far as I'm concerned. Um, so watching her in the ring be dominant for like 75 to 80% of this match, um, was actually kind of refreshing to see. Like we all knew that Stephanie Vaquer was going to win. Like this is like one of her first or second title defenses. So uh we know she's going to win. She just got the belt, and WWE is really up on her, but they're also up on Raquel. So what they did was give us a match where both competitors looked pretty good, but they had to give a little of the little of a leverage to Raquel because she is super dominant and giant, and they're trying to show her off as pretty strong and impressive. And they definitely did that, but they did not bury Stephanie Vaquer here. So the match turned out pretty good between the both of them. It's something that you would enjoy watching and not feeling like either one of them was being squashed. Um, because neither one of them was in. Whoever produced that match, chef's kiss to them. Um, I think it's what happened after the match that kind of was a tad bit unnecessary and um not unnecessary too soon. We all knew, everybody knew that Nikki Bella was going to betray Vicaire. We all saw it coming. And the once again the commentary group, or the commentary table, would not shut the fuck up. They oversell, or that they oversell a storyline or something that the audience needs to get or understand. They push it so much that it's like, can you stop telling me what's going to happen? Tessitore talked so fucking much about Bella being um Vicaire's best friend, and how she's like, it's so important to have so much support and so much this and so much that. And I'm like, my guy, we already know. Now maybe they were doing that because they felt like there wasn't as much time in this storyline to physically show us, so they have to tell us repeatedly. Um, I just wish they had found more key moments to make it look a bit more authentic. We all saw it coming. Um, I just thought it was going to be more of a slow burn, and it wasn't. You know, um, it was almost like they were afraid to make Nikki Bella a heel or something, or they weren't very set on what they were doing, or maybe they were just trying to make it look like, hey, I want that championship. This is nothing personal, but how could it not be? Because they've kept making it so personal, so intimate. These two, they saved each other in matches, two matches, guys, like two matches total, but between both of them, one match for each person, for each gal. So, like, I just feel like the storyline was rushed. And just in case you guys don't know what I'm talking about, after the match, Roxy and Raquel attack Stephanie. Nikki defends. They fight them off, and then after all that, after she literally helps Stephanie win the match, she being Nikki. Um, then she attacks Stephanie, and I think it's just one hit. I think she did. I think I'm right about that. Yeah, I think she only hit her once.
You just clobbered her once with the title belt.
Yeah, and that was it. So it didn't even seem like there was any malice here. Because it was just
No, it was very
too
go through the
soon.
motions. Yeah.
Yeah, it was too soon. Like all this storyline that you guys are pushing just kind of got um I mean, it was like a fart in the wind. Uh so I don't know why it was so rushed, but it certainly could have used a week or two more, at least. Maybe I honestly would say a month or so of a slow burn, but I guess they're trying to push for something like a match for the what, war games, not is that the name of the event?
It might be. The pay-per-view is called War Games, so maybe they
Yeah.
were like, "Well, we need this match
yeah
for that."
so so maybe that's why they pushed it so soon. I honestly would have given it more time for
Yeah.
character development, so that it would have actually meant something, because at this point it just didn't. We saw it coming, and the commentators would not shut up about it. When I say commentators, I'm really talking about Tessitore, because he would not shut the fuck up about. That's who I remember the most, going on and on about their fucking friendship and how it's in depth and blow. Like this could have uh it could have definitely done so much better, or benefited from, like, more segments backstage, anything to show us
Yeah.
that these two. But I don't know, so it felt kind of rushed. I'm gonna stop harping on it. uh, but I mean, other than that, and it also just kind of got lost in the hype of the night, because I'm sure that's not what the majority of people will be talking uh about when it comes to Monday Night Raw. Like, I feel like it's just gonna get lost in the shuffle. Like, nobody really gives a nobody really gives a shit about whether or not Nikki betrayed her. And we also know that Stephanie is gonna whip Nikki's ass. And, like, to be perfectly honest, they aren't even equal in the ring. Like, no disrespect to Nikki, but Stephanie is a much better female competitor. You can't give me a convincing match between these two. But we'll see. We'll see how it turns out,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
suppose.
Well, I'll certainly go with the we'll see on that one, but I don't know. There were two elements to this particular match that seemed like they weren't given proper, I don't know, room to cook.
Yeah.
One, Raquel and Vicaire, they put on a good enough match here, but I feel like there's an even
Yeah.
bigger, better match that those two could put on.
Oh, I
I
think
did
so. Yeah.
I did like that Vicaire tried to do the Vicaire bomb to Raquel a couple of times, but Raquel's just too big for it. So Vicaire ends up using the corkscrew moonsault finisher. Tessa Torre like had a whole nother thing to say about it, like the full like long what it was the government name of that move.
Yeah.
He he, he was like the Sasquatch moonsault or something. I don't know what he said,
Yeah.
but it's essentially a corkscrew moonsault. It looks really really good. It's known otherwise as a spiral tap. Or they're like very close. I think the spiral tap ends in a senton position, and Vicaire actually ends up face down, ready for a pin. But it's a very cool move, and I like that there was at least a little storytelling as to why Vicaire needed to not use the Vicaire bomb, because Raquel's just too damn big to
Yeah.
put that move on. But otherwise, I feel like this. I mean, because this was for the Women's World Championship, right? And I feel like this was a bigger match. I do appreciate that for the most part, Perez and Bella stayed out of it. So this was a match between Raquel and Vicaire. There was only, I think, like one spot where Perez tried to get in a cheap shot and was immediately shut down by Nikki.
Hmm.
So look, Nikki's got her back. But I agree on the second count that the whole Nikki Bella betrayal arc was like wasted here.
Yeah.
It very much felt like it was amounting to nothing. So this was a build up to nothing. I mean, yes, we all saw it coming, but to let it happen this quickly and this inconsequentially made it the whole thing pointless. This would
Yeah.
have been a much better arc to do across like Vicarious first and second, maybe feuds where Nikki had her back through a couple of major opponents and it's like, oh, maybe we were wrong. Maybe Nikki really is good friends with Vicarious, just to get us to that point where we're doubting that we're sure that this is going to be a betrayal, then betrayal.
Yeah.
But to do it this quickly when it was so obvious, especially since like subtlety is a foe of WWE's writing between the announcers, like you said, Tessa Torre overselling the shit out of it. And like one of the first conversations Nikki had with Vicaire was them talking in a hall, and she said, "Well, this belt puts a target on your back. It means you can't trust anyone." We like from that moment on, we were like, "Yeah, that includes Nikki Bella." So you know, it didn't feel like it had room to cook and then actually go anywhere to do it here. And I agree with you. Not only was it a waste of the clout that this story arc could have been building to if they'd have let it cook, but it was a bad time to do it because everybody was like still thinking about the events of John Cena and all
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah.
this whole like women's world championship as well as the inevitable Nikki Bella betrayal arc just sort of didn't mean much, and it didn't land like either one was that big of a deal in the middle of this card on this night with John Cena.
Yeah.
Um I think there was a better feud that could happen between Raquel and Vicaire. And I feel like they could have cooked longer this Nikki betrayal arc. Again, maybe running if you had run this arc through the first one or two other feuds to sell us on the idea that Nikki is continuously helping her, and so we start to doubt that we're sure Nikki's going to betray her, because she's been standing up for her for more than like 3 weeks. Um, then maybe it could have gone somewhere, but this ended up being a build up to nothing, unfortunately. So I felt a little deflated for those two reasons. Like this wasn't just any other match. This was a world championship match, and it didn't feel
Yeah.
like it had that power behind it, that clout, that big match feel. And then they threw away what they were just getting started with Nikki Bella as a betrayal arc between her and Vicker. So decent enough match between the two of them. Like I don't have criticisms about the in-ring work or the match itself, just the way that it was positioned in the card and how some of the bigger elements, like the fact that this was a world championship match and that there was a building betrayal arc, just kind of piffled.
Yeah.
Are my only criticisms. Like it just didn't land like the big deal either one of those things should have been.
Yeah. I absolutely agree. It just ended up
So
being kind of a lackluster. Like you said something very interesting, and I just wanted to speak on it real quick. It's true that it didn't really feel like a match for the belt. It felt like a match to, I guess, progress this storyline, and I don't think it was really successful on either.
yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, because I really think there's a better, bigger, more intense match that could occur between Raquel and Nikki. I'm sorry, and Stephanie. But it felt like this was just a hurdle to get to the Nikki Bella Stephanie
Yeah,
Vicker arc,
yeah,
and
yeah,
then that was like that was kind of thrown away because you didn't let it cook, so the payoff meant nothing. I mean, at this point, it was inevitable, and the fact that she did it so soon. It just didn't have the dramatic weight of a
yeah,
story arc that it could have. Whereas if Nikki, I guess if the bookers and the writers is who I should be allocating this criticism to, if you had waited at least maybe one or two major feuds in to have Nikki kind of show up and be her best friend for more than like 2-3 weeks, because that was like their friendship was fabricated like 3 weeks ago, and then it's only had a week or two to cook and sell us on the idea of it in the first place because it came out of
yeah,
nowhere. Um,
yep,
and then you already got to the conclusion of it. Then it barely had time to cook, barely had time for anybody to seriously get invested in it. So it was really just kind of like pointless.
yeah,
And it honestly should have just been given more time to cook. That, and throwing Raquel and Vicaire into a major world title defense with almost no pomp or circumstance. It had zero big fight feel. This felt like it was just another match that could take place on Monday Night Raw. You know what I mean?
yeah. I do.
So it and it's unfortunate because I think there's a bigger rivalry here that could occur
Yeah,
between Vicaire and Raquel, especially with Raquel. I agree with you when you said Raquel like definitely is on the most improved of 2025 list. If I had to pick some most improves, like we've already talking about how Dominic Mysterio on the men's side for sure, but on
yeah,
the women's side, I would say Raquel definitely, and I would probably even give a nod to Maxine Dupree.
yeah.
So we've
True,
seen
true.
some real up and comers, and I know that Raquel's not as much of an up and comer, like she's not as green as Maxine Dupree, but we've seen Raquel on the main roster now for what, 2, 3 years, maybe 4. And
Yeah.
she's finally showing us the Raquel Rodriguez that we saw back in NXT that would put on bangers with Rhea Ripley.
Yep.
She's finally stepping up to what we know she's capable of. They've decided that she's not just going to be this big, dumb, like rookie anymore.
Yeah. Thank you for that.
So um, I think you had a bigger match here than what you could have booked in the mid card of a Monday Night Raw. You know what I mean? And given it
Yeah.
more time and more weight. And instead, you used it as a throwaway match to just piffle the Nikki Bella betrayal arc to boot. So it was like a
Yeah.
double letdown in that regard for me. If that clarifies what I wasn't meaning with that, like how it disappointed on two fronts, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Now it's again, it's not the match itself. Like Vaquera and Raquel did fine in ring. This is more like a booking and creative kind of an issue that I'm taking with it.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with everything that you said there. I think we're on the same page.
Yep. And so following that match, we get a new variation on the WrestleMania 42 promos where they're making it a casino theme. Where have we seen that before? Um and this time it's Cody Rhodes talking about how, he's made for this moment and every one of them that comes after it, kind of a thing. And then we are taken to see CM Punk in the backstage, and Adam Pearce is checking on CM Punk and Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso, and he's like, "Is everybody good?" And Punk says, "Well, physically, yeah, but he's still pissed off. He doesn't want to speak for Cody or Jey, but yeah, he's angry." And he says he wants Pierce to go find Heyman. Punk has a team. He wants Pierce to tell Heyman to get a team. He's done with the games. And Pierce is like, "Are you saying what I think you're saying?" And Punk
My
says,
God.
"Regal." And so it's like they drug William Regal out of the vault, and he's looking all discombobulated, like, "Why am I even here? Who said my name?" Just
How
so
did
that he
I
can
get here?
just so that he can yell war games. And Pierce is like, "Boys, prepare to go to war." And it was over the top and ridiculous, and I loved it. It was fantastic. This
Yeah.
part, I really liked it. And so we now know, at least as we mentioned earlier, the first three members of Team Punk, and clearly we've got the three members of the Vision. It's going to be the Bronze and Logan Paul. So the questions for both of those two teams is, who's your fourth man? And we speculated. I think you're right. I think Team Cody is going to go with Roman Reigns, and Team Vision might go with Brock Lesnar, and that's going to make for a hellacious match just on its face. Those
Yeah.
names in those matches is going to be big. So I'm excited for that. I hope it plays out that way. I hope they're not like, "Well, haha, we've subverted your expectations." It's going to be Jimmy Uso on one side and I
Ah.
don't know, I show speed on the other, or some
Oh.
shit like that.
I show
It'd be
speed.
awful. I mean, no offense to I show speed. I don't mean it to sound that way, but like,
Yeah.
not who we're thinking.
Yeah. I hope that it's not the case. Like I listen, I'm sure that they could give us a banger, right? I'm sure that Jimmy and Aisho and whoever they put in there, I'm sure they can give us a banger. But I'm hoping that it's the big wigs. I'm hoping that it's I'm sorry, big wigs, the big names uh Roman and okay, there's a cat. Roman and Brock Lesnar. I'm hoping that they give us
Yeah,
that. Because I mean,
I
it's
think that
gonna
would
have
be
to
much
be
better.
kind of a big name thing. Because I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's war games. Come on.
Well, and in the school of thought that you save the best for last, the last two members of these two teams need to be the ones that make it go, "Oh my God," you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm hoping it's what we're predicting, because That's not anything I read on the internet or any of that kind of speculation. That's me as a fan going, who would I like to see in this match? And who do I think would make for the biggest, nastiest threats in the match? And it would be Roman Reigns on Team Punk, and it would be Brock Lesnar on Team Vision.
Yeah. Nightmare fuel.
I mean, unless Seth Rollins is magically healed and ready to perform, in which case that would be hilarious to have Seth Rollins join Team Punk, but I don't see that storyline wise making any sense at all. So I
Yeah.
really do think Roman Reigns is the best call there, and Brock Lesnar the obvious choice, the most telegraphed choice since they had Paul Heyman, show us, I think at the last PLE that he still has ties with Brock Lesnar.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I
Well,
concur.
following that, we are brought to our our fourth match of the night, which is Sheamus versus Shinsuke Nakamura in their first round match for the Last Time Is Now tournament. And what were your thoughts on this match?
Um, it was an okay match. Neither one of these first round Last Time Is Now matches were anything to write home about. They were okay. Um and I'm not saying that anyone did anything in particular that was good or like that was bad. Like there were no flubs. Although I have to say that Shinsuke is back to looking really sloppy. I don't know if you guys remember, but right before he had his heel turn where they had the cool music and the cool like openers for him. Before that, he was in matches like with Cody Rhodes and just looking sloppy, like he was heavily drugged or sedated or something, or maybe just not giving a fuck about how he looked in the ring. I don't know, but it wasn't looking too good, and I'm starting to see that again in his in-ring work. So I don't know if he's tired or what, but there were a couple of times where he was going for moves that we've seen him do before, but they were so sloppy or sluggish looking that it was kind of like, what the hell was that? Um, and I think I remember that like 2 or 3 times. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I unfortunately have to agree. This was only an okay match. And it's really kind of unfortunate. Like I thought, we can use the Last Time Is Now to make some really interesting matchups, and it just looks like
yeah,
they're just becoming, the mid-card match that they would otherwise do that doesn't have the Last Time Is Now tournament attached to it. Um Sheamus looked as good as he usually does.
yeah,
Somehow, like, no matter what, Sheamus seems to bring at least some energy and intensity to the match. But you're right, Shinsuke Nakamura looked bored as hell. Like he's lifeless in the ring these days.
yeah,
He looks, it looks very much like he's just going through the motions. Kind of like how we felt about Nikki Bella's strike with the belt to Vaquer. Um, And I mean, it translates through the television when it looks like you're just phoning it in. And that's
yep,
kind of how I felt about it with Nakamura's performance here. Um, maybe he's just disenchanted, or maybe he's in pain. I don't know. I don't know what the excuse is, but it seems like Nakamura's performances are just very phoned in these days. And you took the words right off the page. My biggest note for this match was it was okay, but it was nothing to write home about. So it was an all right match. I could say, well, Sheamus is another big guy who uses a strike finisher. Two things to that. One, the brogue kick I think is a more impressive strike finisher compared to say like the Machka kick. And the second thing I'll say to that is that I'll still give Sheamus some grief about that because I much prefer his Celtic Cross to the Brogue Kick. So, but Sheamus as a character is still more likable and interesting all the way around than, say, like Rusev. That was me propping up the straw man of somebody saying, well, why don't you say of Sheamus the same shit you say of Rusev? There you go. I've
Yeah.
pre-answered that now. And I like Sheamus. So I was actually glad that he got to continue in this tournament because that means we'll see more of him. Plus, I think there's actually a little something compelling there. They made a point that the Intercontinental Belt is another title that has eluded Sheamus. And Sheamus has a storied rivalry with John Cena and would not be a terrible final opponent for him, especially if it gave Sheamus the chance to finally win the IC belt off of John Cena as well. So he's actually a favorite of mine to potentially win. He's the dark horse, right? Because he's not these days he's not a big name. He's fallen into that guy who was once at the top of the card who is now, because I guess he's older talent, being utilized like AJ Styles and Randy Orton, you know. So it would be fantastic to see Sheamus pull this off, and it's not like there's not a wealth of history between him and John Cena that they could tap into for this being a big final match for him. So
Yeah.
it was good in that regard.
Yeah.
So in case it wasn't perfectly clear, Sheamus wins with a snap brogue kick because he never hits these days with the chest slapping fella, where he's like, broke, broke, broke. Because apparently, not only does that inform the crowd that he's about to do it, it informs his opponents 100% of the time. So he has to sneak one in like quickly. And he defeats Shinsuke Nakamura. And after the match, they did some sportsmanship. He picks up Nakamura, they hug, and so it was kind of a feel good match. At least in that respect.
Yeah, I think he picked
Um,
Nakamura up because he wouldn't have been able to get up any other way. No, I'm kidding. I kid.
but following that match, we are treated to Adam Pearce making an announcement that next week, in the hallowed ground that is Madison Square Garden, the Last Time Is Now tournament will continue. And so he's making his draw. And of course, he follows Nick Aldis in that the first match, he lets you know both competitors. In the second match, he only gives you half of the equation. He says, we'll all find out who he goes toe to toe with live. But the first match is going to be the returning ring general Gunter versus NXT's young OG Javon Evans.
Oh no, I'm so sorry, Javon.
Yeah, I like Javon Evans well enough, but
Rip.
unless unless they still got Gunter on jobber duty, Gunter by all rights should just absolutely destroy Javon Evans.
Yeah.
Um, and then the second match with the secret opponent, the half that we know is going to be the leader of the MFT's Solo Sikoa. And so, like, who do you have any guesses as to who the other person in that match might be?
No, because these feel super random to me. Like maybe they aren't. Maybe they really thought about who the opponents are gonna be, but these feel super random. I mean, we got Javon going against Gunther. Like, bruh, that sounds crazy to me. I'm afeared for Javon's life right now. So I couldn't even guess who this would be. Who do you think? Do you have
Um,
somebody?
the first thing that came to my mind, the first one that would be an interesting or intriguing opponent for Solo Sikoa, that would be a surprising opponent, would be a returning Jacob Fatu. Um,
Yeah, but see, that would be awesome. I think that'd be awesome, but I also think that you're thinking like like storylines, and I don't think there are
Yeah,
any here. I think this is just some think Sheamus and Shinsuke
Shinsuke.
random. Uh,
Yeah. Otherwise, it could be a surprising opponent from NXT. Like, what if it's Solo versus Trick Williams, or Solo versus who's that big dude that was like the NXT champ for a long time? I'm
oh, Oba,
struggling to think of his name. Obafemi. Yeah, what if
yeah,
it's Obafemi? Those could be very, very good as well.
yeah.
Um,
It could be. Now, I will say that they are. I think they are giving the MFTs a push. So whoever Solo is going against, he's going to win. He's going to win against. Um, and I think it may be somebody from NXT.
yeah, but I mean, if I had to wager a guess, which was the point of this exercise,
Yeah, yeah,
the one that I think would be a compelling surprise, other than it just being, wow, I didn't even know this guy existed. Yeah, like suppose it's Solo versus like Omos, like I'll
yeah,
be like, uh oh, well, you're gonna need your almost 7 foot giant to actually deal with this over 7 foot giant. So,
yeah. That'd be cool.
Solo might have a shot in that match if all of the MFTs go after Omos, but it could be anyone if we're just going for like who randomly out of the air could you pull.
Yeah,
But Solo Sikoa isn't really feuding with anyone in particular, save for Jacob Fatu, most recently. So that's why Jacob came to mind. Plus, I mean, I wouldn't be sad to see Jacob Fatu get back in the ring.
yeah,
Um, I do wonder, like, it's still a big, wide open question. Who attacked Jacob Fatu? Are they going to get back to that? Because it's starting to feel like that's the new, who threw Jade through the car.
yeah, yeah. I think they are whenever he's coming back, like maybe a couple of weeks before he comes back or whatever, they'll start to get back to that storyline,
Right?
like
We'll see a video
what they did with
reminder.
Jade. Yeah, like what they
Yeah.
did with Jade. Like they brought it up and then they kind of let it die off for a little bit, and they had something else popping off with the tag team of Naomi and Bianca. And then they started bringing it back up again whenever Jade was coming back. And then she just came back like surprise. And started
Yeah.
whipping Naomi's ass. So
Started whooping
maybe,
that ass.
yeah, maybe it'll be something like that.
Yeah. But we'll find out. Right now in this tournament, we have two surprises still waiting to happen. We've got the surprise coming from Nick Aldis's announcement, and I mean that could be anybody too, right? Like they're
Yep.
signaling hardcore, like maybe a returning Chris Jericho. Um,
I
uh,
don't know. I don't know if it's gonna be. I don't know if he came back. It would be this soon. And I'm only saying that because I know his contract isn't with AEW isn't up until the end of the year.
yeah. But I mean, another one could be like Joe Hendry or any number of things.
Mm,
So I'm
anybody?
curious.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so these are interesting, if for no other reason than to find out who's the mystery opponent. Like as annoying as that is, it is effective for building suspense. So I'm here to find out, and I hope these aren't letdown surprises. Like oh look, it's somebody from TNA, like Solo
Yeah.
Sikoa versus Dolph Ziggler, like
Yeah.
not that that would be terrible, but it wouldn't be as good as what I can think of. So I mean, there's a double-edged sword with these surprises, is that you invite speculation that I could end up making it way bigger in my head than you're able to
Well,
actually deliver.
yeah. I'm gonna say if they are going to do this, we're gonna keep it a secret until the night of. If they're gonna do that, then it better be. Had been somebody that we are going to be like, what about? Like for real.
Yeah,
It
yep,
better or else what's the point? Like, if you're like, uh and tonight, finally we get to find out who Solo Sukoa will be facing. And it's like Dork the Clown's son, Eddie. Like what the who?
yeah. Yeah, I mean, if the surprise ends up being wah wah, then it's going to have worked against you.
Yeah.
So these better be good.
So these can't be as random. Now that I'm thinking about it, they can't be as random as the other two matches. Like these are gonna, if you're gonna do that, if you're gonna go that route, then you better give us something worth the surprise.
Yeah. I agree with you there. But at any rate, it's definitely something that's building anticipation. So it's effective at that at least. So hopefully it pays off well. It's got
Yeah.
to pay off better than the Nikki Bella betrayal. That was so
Uh.
bad.
Yeah.
Um,
It's just like I said. I think it's just gonna get like we still have one more match to go, and I honestly believe that the first and last match of Raw is going to outshine and out news the Nikki Bella betrayal. I mean, honestly,
yeah, yeah, I
it's going
agree.
to get buried in the shuffle. I don't think that this was the night to do it. I think you guys should have let it burn a little bit longer and then done something like after War Games or something.
Yeah,
You could have had a thing where you were building up a story line between Stephanie and somebody else, like for a rivalry, and you could have had it where Nikki was there supporting her the entire time. Instead of what you did, you could have had it where like it could have been Raquel. You could have built it where it could have just been her, like Raquel and Stephanie. Focus solely on that, solely on that feud, and have each lady have like one up here, one up there. Not the I'm gonna attack both tag team members. No, not that. Give me something where it was just these two ladies build a solid rivalry where Nikki was supportive the entire time, and then War Games could have been that match between Raquel and Stephanie, and there is where you could have done something where Nikki did a betrayal. That would have been like, what?
yeah.
This was a you blew your load
No,
too soon.
yeah. It was
Mm,
really surprising because it was also the absolute mid card. Like
mhm.
there were two matches on either side of it, so it was right in the middle. And so the women's world championship match and the big betrayal both were kind of like wah, wah. And I'm like, wow, what a waste. That's probably my biggest criticism of this particular Raw, to be perfectly honest, was just the throwaway of both Raquel versus Vaquer for the women's world title in and of itself, and then the throwaway of the betrayal arc.
Yeah, they
It just
just
was. It was just so limp. It was Lake Placid over there.
yeah.
Um, but I digress. We come finally to the fifth match of the night, our main event: Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, the current champions, versus the Kabuki Warriors for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship. And interesting and a little bit surprising that the Tag Team Championship makes the main event. But as we go through the events of this match and the things that occur after the match, I can kind of see why this ended up being the main event.
Yeah.
But before I get into that, what were your thoughts on this main event?
I thought um I feel like so this was not a bad match at all. I think this is probably the second best match of the night. Um and of course Oscar shows out. And I have to say I had a different idea of Kyrie when I first saw her. And now I feel like I feel like my opinion of her has changed for the better. She is a really good females competitor. Like she's really good. She may be small, but she's really really good in the ring. I think she gets in there like she has absolutely never been injured, and I said that about her before. Um, yeah, tonight or yeah, no exception. She really goes all in. And Asuka is ridiculous. She's always a freaking delight, and she's kind of ageless, this woman. Um she still goes just as crazy as she did when she was a younger competitor. So yeah, she's not as crazy as then. Because I mean, maybe the reins weren't on her as tightly as they are in WWE. No offense to WWE, but you know what I mean. Um, but she's still really good to watch in the ring. I have critiqued Charlotte in the past, in the recent past, about her in ring work. I feel like it's kind of soulless. Um, yeah, it's kind of soulless. I don't think that was the case Monday night. I think she looked better. I think Alexa looked better. I did not, however, expect the interferences that we got. Did you?
I I didn't expect it, but I wasn't surprised by it given the events that had unfolded since last.
Well, it was just it was so weird to me, but then it started to make sense. Um because like they're having their match, and no, like, listen, the Kabuki Warriors are smart, and that's they were just picking Charlotte and Alexa apart whenever they got the opportunity. They were preventing tags, like these ladies were I don't even know, but I mean, they were doing all they could to make sure that they were keeping these two ladies apart, and it was great for the story. Um, and then while they're getting like just decimated, um, they get more decimation from Nia Jax and Lash Legend, who show up. And now they're basically helping the Kabuki Warriors by essentially just helping them whip Charlotte and Alexa's ass. Like, I mean, and I was like, damn, this is this is kind of rough, man. Like, everybody's out for these ladies. Um, I'll give WWE credit for this. They actually made me feel bad for Charlotte for a second. I was like, man, can we stop being shitbags to them? Um, but yeah, they Charlotte and Alexa, if you don't mind me just going ahead and talking about
No,
the ending.
go for
Uh,
it. Yeah, yeah.
Charlotte and Alexa end up losing the belts. Um, because Nia Jax and Lash Legend were there to destroy lives. Um, like, seriously. Uh, they end up losing the belts, and then afterwards, the Kabuki, like, and I this is the one thing that I thought was kind of bad. There wasn't a real celebration for the Kabuki Warriors winning the belts. You know how there usually is like some sort of like fanfare or something. Yeah, I kind of felt like they kind of ran through that really quick, like that wasn't the important part, and I kind of feel like it was. But hopefully they fix that next week in Madison Square. um but after that, it started to make sense why they were being so mean to my girl Charlotte. Charlotte and Alexa, I was like, man, this sucks. I hate this, because they were just stumping the shit out of them. But then Io comes out, and I'm happy about that. And Io, essentially, she's whipping everybody's ass. The only thing that she couldn't beat was Nia Jax's tits. Um, the winners of the night were them titties.
Yeah, yeah. Naya, like Charlotte learned from the previous week to wear attire that is less tit threatening. Naya was like, "Nah, I got you." She was the one that came out with the wild and untamed titties this evening.
Yeah. They needed to be reined in. And they got her off camera quick. They were like, like,
Yeah,
somebody drop kick this bitch good ass out the ring. Um,
yeah.
Yeah, and she was rolling out the ring, holding her tits, like, whoa.
Yeah. Yeah. We needed our one black screen for the evening where they're like, oh, Naya's about to show us more than we would bargain for.
I was like, damn you, black bar. Anyway, anyway, Io comes out and she's holding her own there for a few. But then finally the numbers game wins and she starts to get taken over. But then uh Rhea comes out. Again, I think this is what the second war game she's gonna have a face mask.
Yep. Yep. She
Like
keeps taking these face injuries that destroy her head.
it's tradition. It's like look, next year if she does not injure her face, she better come out with a face mask on anyway. Tradition. Um but yeah, she came out with her little face mask on and she starts whipping ass. Um she gives a headbutts. She's one of my favorite female competitors for the headbutt. She does a great job. Her and Tony Storm both love their headbutts. They Amanada, hers too.
Yeah,
I think
Queen
it's a good one.
Amanada's is good.
Yeah. But yeah, she comes out and now I start to see the big picture. And now I understand why they were basically mean girling Charlotte and Alexa. And Rhea explains it just in case we didn't understand it. She grabs a mic and she yells "War Games," and that's all. And I'm like, oh, okay, okay. Oh, now I see it.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep. And what a brutal two sides. You've got the Kabuki Warriors and Nia Jackson Lash Legend on one
yeah,
side.
holy
Oof.
shit.
And on the other side, you've got Io Sky, Rhea Ripley, Charlotte Flair, and Alexa Bliss on the other.
Yeah,
That
now that
is
is a
phenomenal.
star-studded female War Games match right there.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, Io and Ripley, those two alone, they're so good in the ring together. I cannot wait to see what the fuck's gonna happen there. Um, like with each other, against each other, it doesn't matter. I love watching those two compete in the ring.
Yeah. And Io Sky is the only woman that you put in a cage and she's uncaged. Like she's
Yeah,
gonna put like a trash can on her head, and like she's gonna go grab like a small vehicle out of the parking lot and moonsault down with a vehicle trash can combo, and that's the way they'll deal with Nia
vehicle
Jax
trash
and
can
Lash
combo.
Legend. Yeah. Yeah,
Oh
we've
my
seen
god.
Jade Cargill put through a car, but have you ever seen a car put through Lash Legend? Well, you will
Yeah,
then.
you will now. Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, so my thoughts on this match pretty much mirror yours. It was a good match and a really interesting finish. This was also the match that made me think that they've been signaling Chris Jericho quite a lot because I don't
Oh
recall
yeah,
seeing Charlotte ever do this, but at one point she puts Asuka into a lion tamer. And you know, they're in Boston. They're like, oh, it's a Boston crab. No, when it's elevated like that, where they're almost on their neck, it's a lion tamer.
yeah.
And so she was clearly like, yo, Chris Jericho, what up? Um, and this just ended up being a real banger of a match. We got a really good match that looked like the Kabuki Warriors were going to lose because Asuka had succumbed to the figure eight at this point. Like
Yeah.
she hadn't tapped out. I mean, she's in the figure eight. And when Kyrie tried to interfere, Alexa Bliss grabbed a hold of her and hit her with the Sister Abigail DDT. So it looked like it was, you know, almost a foregone conclusion that Alexa and Charlotte were going to win. But that's when Lash and Nia, you know, grabbed the arms out from under Charlotte, and the ref somehow missed it. Um, and that allowed the Kabuki Warriors to turn it around and hit Charlotte with like the reverse DDT position, insane elbow that has been their team finisher for a moment now. And of course, they get the win. And then it's everything beyond that point that you've already spoken to. And it was just a really cool way to see these two War Games teams come together, because I wasn't necessarily thinking that until it happened. So it was a really nice, like, oh, I see what you're doing here. And it does make me hope that Lash Legend is actually called up and not just like, well, just for War Games. You know what I mean? Because I
Yeah.
feel like you can only tease Lash Legend coming to the main roster so many times. You already did it a good portion of last year.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping this is actually Legend's call up, because I think she could shake up the roster in a big way. Like, she's one of the few people that I think you could put in the ring next to Jade Cargill and be like, oh, I have no idea who's winning this one, because they're both just ginormous. Um, and I like Lash Legend.
Yeah.
She's a big powerhouse woman's wrestler, and I think she could give us good matches with Rhea Ripley. She could have convincing matches with Nia Jax. I think she would be real good. She could have a great match with Raquel Rodriguez, I think. So I can already see lots of good matchups, because she's just a huge powerhouse of a woman.
Yeah.
Um, Other than that, we already mentioned that Nia Jax's unruly tits were like a additional opponent that Nia pretty much had to contend with, because she had to stop what she was trying to do in the way of offense to wrangle them titties. They were fighting to get out. But this was a fantastic way to put together women's war games. It and those two teams. Wow, that war games match is going to be amazing. It might outperform the men's war games match. We'll just have to see. But it was good. It was real good. It was a great main event. Yeah, I just have nothing but good stuff to say about it. This one fired on all cylinders for me.
Yeah.
So, that being the after Rio Screams War Games, that's pretty much when the show goes off the air. So that being the case, what was your review of this episode of WWE Raw?
Um. Everything. Everything that this episode did well, it did very well, and everything in between, which unfortunately would be the two matches for the last time is now, um those were kind of cheeks, man. They were like like we had 5 matches. 3 of them were really good, even if one of them had an added bit of storyline that was kind of rushed. The match itself, I thought, was still good. Um, I would have gone much higher on this match had the other 2 matches been bangers. They were okay. They were not bad. Okay, like they weren't bad, which is why I can't give them super low numbers, but they were not the greatest. Like they were just, they felt like filler, that they felt like a
Yeah,
Dragon Ball Z filler episode where you're like, oh my god, I could just totally fast forward to this. I do not care about the first cartoon that Toriyama made before Dragon Ball. Like, cool, she's cute and all, but that's not what I'm here for. You know
yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean? Like
I do.
it's
I do.
just like it was just some filler stuff. That's what it felt like. So while it may have been good, it was okay. Okay. It kind of takes the score down. I'm gonna give it. I'm still gonna consider it top tier. Okay. I'm gonna give it an 80. Or an 8. Sorry, an 80. I'm gonna give it.
80, and it blew away anything on our 10 scale.
Oh my god. I'm gonna give it an 8. Um, because the matches that were good were fantastic. Like the ones that were great were amazing. The opening match with John Cena and Dominic Mysterio shut the front door. That was a main event match at the beginning of the fucking show. It was amazing. The match with Stephanie Vickier and Raquel. was not a bad match. It was a good match that kind of got soiled a little bit by the unnecessary ending with Bella. Like we just didn't need it. It wasn't time. That's what I'll say. I don't feel like it was time. Um, and the main event was a main event match, man. Like it was really good. Um, and it and not only was it really good, but it put together a female war games team, or two female war games teams that are gonna be off the fucking chain. Oh my god, that is the match. That's the war games match that I am looking forward to the most. And when I find out who the last guy who is gonna be on both teams for the guys, then my hype will continue. It's building. It's building for that one. It's building.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, they could end up with five dudes on each team. Who knows? It could end up being Roman and Jimmy, and then Lesnar and somebody else. Who the fuck knows? In which case, we're talking about an all-out battle like that. That's gonna be epic. So excited for that. But yeah, long story short, there, an 8, top tier.
Nice, nice. Mine is probably similar. With what was good in this episode, here's what's good. The opening match, the pop Boston gave for John Cena, Boston just in general was aces as a crowd, but the pop for John Cena was good. Everything that happened with Mysterio and Cena was just aces to start this off, and
Yeah.
it was phenomenal. The other parts that were good was everything that had to do surrounding the formation and the build up towards war games. The Punk segments against the Vision were good. Um, the main event match where the two women's teams formed, and we can already tell those are going to be a banger, were amazing. Then here is the not so great. The not so great would be I had maybe unreasonably high hopes for some excellent matchups going into the last time is now tournament. And I agree with you that the two matches that we got on the night felt like they were filler matches that would have been otherwise the mid card booking for Raw. Um, I am disappointed that there's a seeming burial of Damian Priest. I am disappointed at this push for Rusev, who for me is very boring, and I think Shinsuke Nakamura needs to rediscover a passion for this somehow, some way, or he probably needs to retire. Because he just looks like he's phoning it in, and as you said, sloppy or even just lackluster. Um, I was pleased to see Sheamus win his match, but yeah, I think you could do more with these matches than what's being done. And then probably the biggest ding that I have for this episode was sticking the women's world title match in the absolute mid card, and one as a women's title match. It had almost no pomp and circumstance or weight to it. And then you blew the Nikki Bella betrayal payload before it had even really gotten off the ground. Those are the biggest hits. So, with what was good versus what was not so good, this was probably sitting at a 9, but because of the not so good, it gets
Yeah.
bumped down to an 8, which is still top
Yeah.
tier. This was absolutely an eventful episode of Raw that I think you would be like worse off if you're a fan of WWE and you're watching it. You'd be worse off for not seeing it, but it didn't go off all, you know, good. There was some parts that were mediocre and other parts that were wasted. I feel like that women's championship match and the Nikki Bella betrayal were both wasted in terms of, you know, the big match feel not being there for a world title match in the mid card, and the wasted Nikki Bella betrayal payoff. Like that was just why, you know, why throw that all away for a mid card match like that. Um that and you know, the two times now matches were okay. Again, not a big fan of Damian Priest seeming to be buried. I don't know what he did wrong. I'm wondering about Damian Priest, like why does WWE hate him the same way I felt like they did Julia?
Yeah.
So this does make it into top tier, but there are some caveats, some things that could have been done better. That said, I would recommend that anyone watch this episode if you haven't yet, because the build-up, the John Cena winning his Intercontinental Championship off Dominic Mysterio was both hilarious and cool. Like, for anyone who keeps track of stats, that makes John Cena a Grand Slam champion. And then you had like the segment with Punk and the Vision and all that was actually really good. Punk did very solid promo work, and we see the formation of at least some of the members of the War Games teams for the men's side. And then, of course, that last match where we had a phenomenal title change with the women's tag belts towards the Kabuki Warriors, coupled with the seemingly spontaneous formation of the women's two War Games teams, and those two teams just look like they're going to give us a barn burner of a match. Like, those two teams are just stacked. Like, what did you say? It's the all-star teams.
Yeah.
So what was good was real fucking good, and what was bad was only so bad. Like I mean, the match is not quite living up to what I hoped for. It doesn't make them bad matches. I just saw more potential there, and same with the what they did with Vaquer and Nikki and Raquel and Roxy. Like, it's not that they were bad, as you said. It's just there was so much more that could have been done there. I feel like it wasn't as well utilized as it could have been.
Yeah.
So that said, it's 8 neck nubs, top tier. It was ultimately a fun and eventful watch, and it was well worth seeing.
Yep. I agree.
So that has been our coverage of WWE Raw, and I want to thank everybody who joined us for this episode and invite you to join us for our next episode, which should for sure be our coverage of Friday Night SmackDown. Until then, I don't think there's much for me to do but roll the outro.
Bye, guys.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Top Tier Wrestling. We hope you enjoyed our deep dive into the latest AEW and WWE news and shows. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast so you never miss an episode. Follow us on social media for updates and to join the conversation. Until next time, everyone, remember, wrestling is always better when it's top tier.